Yeah.
I still got these boneless Bantu knots in. And what about it, Miss Samantha?
You believe God is a woman.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your girl Lee. So I don't want to waste no time in this video. I've been wanting to talk about this topic since Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion performed WAP at the Grammys, and all y'all conservatives mad. I'm glad that Lil Nas came and stirred up this controversy again, because one, it shows that this is a reoccurring problem in our society. Two, it gave an example of the other side of the spectrum versus just being all on women. So I want to give a quick little disclaimer on this video and future videos that I will post that are going to be like this. I want to start a series called Point of View. In these videos, I will be expressing my opinion on very controversial topics, because if you don't know, now you know. I'm a very opinionated person. I just like to debate, and it's not because I like confrontation, because I am very much afraid of confrontation. I just believe that it is very important for us to have these open discussions about these often uncomfortable and controversial topics, because that is the first step into finding a solution for our socioeconomic problems, mental problems, our environmental problems. And I just want to take the time to point out that these point of views aren't meant to be set in stone. They're not meant to be taken as fact. They're just things that I've learned based on my experiences and based on what I've researched and learned in college. But I am aware that I could be wrong, because I've been wrong before, and there's nothing wrong with being wrong. There's not a point that we're ever going to reach where we know everything, and that is the most humbling thing to know. So if I do say something that is even remotely politically incorrect or incorrect in general, please do feel free to correct me in the comments. However, peep some stuff from y'all conservatives, and it's really making me disgusted, because we are in 2021. The fact that we're still arguing about women's bodies and gay men is ridiculous. So firstly, I want to get into this video by addressing the complaints that the conservatives had with Cardi B's and Megan Thee Stallion's performance.
And this is an actual conversation that I've had with a conservative, by the way. I'm not just making this shit up. Like, they've said this out their own mouth. So yeah.
First, they were concerned that their kids were going to be under the influence of Cardi and Megan's performance just by watching or seeing them on the TV that they're displaying in their home. First red flag. Once you get to that concern, it's important to ask the conservative why it's a problem for kids to witness a performance like Cardi B's and Megan Thee Stallion at an adult award show. Most conservatives will go on and tell you that they're showing too much skin or they're doing sexual dances. So right there, you got two concerns: the sexual dances and they're showing too much skin. Once again, you gotta ask, why is that a problem? Why is it a problem that they're dancing sexually at an adult award show? And why is it a problem that they're showing too much skin? Once you ask these questions, a conservative will most likely respond with, my kid has no business seeing stuff like that. My kid has no business knowing about sexual things in that nature.
Like, come on, Carol, as if you didn't have to bust it open for them grandkids.
Basically, in this response, I'm getting from the conservative that they want to relinquish all responsibility for teaching their child the realities of sex and how they got here. And to me, that's almost like you are purposely trying to withdraw the information of sex from your child. To me, that is automatically sex negative, and we shouldn't be living in a society that is sex negative when humans are very much sexual beings. The child, teenager, adolescent is going to learn about sex one way or the other. But don't you think it's best that a child should learn about sex through you, their provider, protector, unconditional lover, and supporter, you know? If anything, if my child walks in on me watching the Grammys and they see Cardi and Megan scissoring, I'm pretty sure the child is going to ask, what are they doing? Because they can't quite comprehend the realities of sex at such a young age. And that, for you as a parent, should open up a conversation explaining the birds and the bees in a safe environment, so they don't go out into the world and find out about sex on their own and in sometimes traumatic ways. If you just aren't ready to have that conversation yet with your child, don't watch the Grammys, because again, it is an adult show. And normally at these adult award shows, they have a host that introduces the celebrities that are going to be performing. So once you heard Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, you should have changed the channel right then and there, knowing your child was 6 feet away from you on the couch. If it's that big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not ready to have that conversation, it's okay. You know, you don't have to have that conversation right then and there, but eventually have it. At the end of the day, your child should not be clueless on the realities of sex. We are human and we have sexual desires. So if you get to the other concern that the conservatives are complaining about, oh, they're not wearing enough clothes, then again, you ask, why is that a problem that they're not wearing enough clothes? Typically, you'll get a response that relates to women and modesty and how women should be modest and how women need to respect their own bodies. Once you get to those concerns and you ask, well, why do women need to be modest? They will typically come at you with some very ruthless, callous, dehumanizing, demeaning statements about women who aren't adhering to the gender norm of modesty. They'll say things like, oh, they're whorish, they're slutty, that stuff it should be just saved for the bedroom, yada yada yada, which is a double standard within itself, and we'll talk about that a little later. And to those demeaning comments, you can literally just shut the whole conversation down at that point, because the commenter has relied on an ad hominem, which is attacking the person instead of giving a logical, rational explanation as to why women should be modest. But I do want to say, when people feel the need to demean another human being for the choices that they make, it is typically because they see something in the person that they're attacking, something that they're too afraid to express with themselves. And that's just a personal problem that they're going to have to take up with them and their shadow self. If you know anything about the shadow self and the ego side of humanity, then you understand that these are aspects of the human psyche that are shunned by the individual due to society's lack of acceptance of those set aspects. For example, women not being modest and showing a little skin, or performing culturally derived dances like twerking and stuff like that. And if you talked with me about anything ever, then you know that my stance on humans and their innate being, I don't believe that humans are inherently evil or inherently want to harm others by verbal abuse or physical abuse. I feel like it's a product of social conditioning that they've had as a child and as an adult. So 9 times out of 10, if you're demeaning another person because of their actions, might I add, actions that harm nobody but the perceived person that's doing the action, which is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, for disrespecting themselves, even though they perform songs about sex. You know, that's literally their whole celebrity persona. So with all that being said and acknowledged, I feel like the rationale for the conservatives to lash out on Cardi and Megan is simply shining a light on internalized misogyny and patriarchy, which are both sad conservative attempts at controlling the woman's body. We can see the sad attempt and internalization of misogyny and patriarchy and influencers like Candace Owens, who debated with Cardi B on Twitter for hours about Cardi B's actions that, once again, cause no harm to no one, but supposedly Cardi, if and only if modesty is a rule that women must follow to do no harm. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and go through the tweets that Cardi B and Candace Owens said to one another. You guys can go and look that up on Twitter yourself. I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos that are discussing it. Quite frankly, I think that Candace Owens has had enough screen time. But it's sad because around that time when they had that argument on Twitter, Candace Owens took it upon herself to be petty and have a video recorded of her by her white husband.
Be who you are.
For my
What are you
amazing,
doing?
making my husband a sandwich, of course, because that's what a woman should do. Be in the kitchen making her husband a sandwich when she's 9 months pregnant and barefoot.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Oh God, please say psych.
In the video, Mrs. Owens is making her husband a sandwich, which I don't think is wrong in itself, because you should do that as a person. You should make people food. You should make people feel comfortable and loved. But it was the fact that she said, as she should. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was on the lines of, I'm in the kitchen as I should. And that line within itself just takes us all the way back to the beginning of when patriarchy came into fruition. Because let's not forget, patriarchy was not always the wave. You know, it was a matriarchal society before patriarchy even existed. So for y'all to sit there and say these hateful things about these people that you probably are jealous of, at the end of the day, your argument is already invalid because it's not a tenable system to begin with. Yo, my edges are not holding up. You see how heated this topic makes me? Now I want to briefly return to the double standards that I mentioned earlier about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion not being modest in the way that they presented themselves on stage. So if you guys haven't already seen Lil Nas' video, Industry Baby, I definitely recommend you go and watch that right now and get some context behind why these people are saying the things that they are saying. So I don't know when Lil Nas came out, but I do remember when he first stirred up some controversy earlier this year with the Call Me By Your Name video, which was a very brilliant video that portrayed religious trauma and Lil Nas saying fuck you to religious trauma. I feel like that was a gateway into him causing more controversy with this Industry Baby video because of the contents of the video. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, you have to go and watch it because you're not gonna understand what I'm talking about. I'm gonna paraphrase it a little bit for you guys in this video, but I'm highly suggesting you go watch it because my explanation is not gonna give what it's supposed to give, and that video really ate, so y'all should just go and watch it anyway. The song ate in general. So basically at the beginning of the video, Lil Nas X was being sentenced to jail because of the controversy that had stirred up with him in the Satan shoes with Nike or whatever. I think that was just a publicity stunt, in all honesty. which was also genius because he's shining a light on these very hard topics, which is religious trauma and the way that patriarchy is ruining our communities, essentially. But yeah, so Lil Nas X, he goes to prison. But if you saw the video prior to his official music video being released, the judge, which was Lil Nas, did sentence Lil Nas to prison for being gay, which is awesome symbolism, by the way. Yeah, Lil Nas X goes to a jail that looks like it's made for gays because they're all gay men in there. And there was one woman that the double standard comment that I made earlier is going to tie in with this particular scene in the video, because the song in the video featured Jack Harlow, who happens to be heterosexual. He was the only heterosexual man on set. Shout out to my hits. I'm just playing, fuck y'all. The reason why I got so intrigued in making this video and to begin with is because there's yet again some more controversy between Lil Nas X and Boosie and DaBaby. I don't know what DaBaby has said about Lil Nas X, but I know I saw some little clips of Boosie's Instagram live where he is literally threatening to beat Lil Nas for wanting to perform on stage naked for a charity.
The whole world, like, everybody ain't with that shit. Everybody ain't with all that gay ass shit, man. Everybody ain't with you dancing in front of their kids on stage naked. Nigga, everybody ain't with that. Nigga will beat your ass, bitch. Nigga will drag your bitch ass off stage, man. Everybody ain't with that, man. Yeah. You let me be in a building and you come on stage naked. And I think some fucking kids watch. I'ma snatch your bitch ass off stage, nigga. We gonna beat your ass. Nigga. We gonna beat your ass, bitch. You get on stage naked. At the event that I think some children at, and I'm there, I ain't letting it go down. You better hope I ain't at them awards.
Damn, Brody just continued to comb his homophobic thoughts, because I don't know what the fuck. Like, what are you combing? What are you combing?
From what I remember off the top of my head, he used the F slur.
Like Lil Nas, they wanted to perform naked for charity. Like, bruh, they don't tell him nothing. They should be picking sides, man. You don't tell this little faggot ass nothing. That's the most disrespectful motherfucker in the world. He say he won't get naked on stage. Nigga, they got kids to watch that shit. Niggas be taking it too far. Nigga, go suck a dick on IG, nigga. Get fucked in your ass, nigga. Hey, trying to put that shit on all them churn, nigga. Go viral, nigga. Go suck a dick on IG, bitch. That nigga say he'll get naked for charity. And y'all talking about fucking DaBaby. This man say he won't get naked for charity in front of all these fucking churn. That nigga disrespectful like a motherfucker.
For those of you unaware of the charity Boosie is referring to in this clip, Lil Nas has, as you can see, already raised $43,000 in bail money, which is monumental for our community because, I mean, if you don't know, now you know, but also where have you been for like the last century? But blacks and people of color have been oppressed by the American injustice system for far too long. So for him to sacrifice his sanity to be the voice for not only the LGBT plus community, but the black community entirely is truly heroic, because we have artists like Boosie who are only here to stagnate the minds of our beautiful black community. So for Lil Nas to stand up for the community that is essentially his worst enemy and against everything about him, from his sexuality down to the amount of melanin in his genes, is iconic, and he deserves all the recognition he is getting and more, because honestly, what are you doing, Boosie? Like, seriously, riddle me this. What are you doing besides perpetuating ignorant and oppressive ass ideology? Like, seriously, neither one of these lives that you're spewing all this hate in has provided any help for the black community. And you know damn well we need it. So what the fuck are you doing?
Which is, once again, outdated. All of these conservative comments are extremely outdated. It angers me that I'm making this video in 2021, but we're here, you know. But the thing that grinds my gears the most about all of this stuff is the fact that Lil Nas X, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, they've all put in so much work into their art to portray a message that is in regards to their lives and the lives of many other individuals in this American society. Because if you look at them all of these artists are all basically saying fuck you to gender norms. They're not the same, of course, because Cardi B is, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, Afro-Latina, Megan Thee Stallion is African-American, and Lil Nas X is a black male in American society. So there's obviously differences between them all, but they all have one thing in common, and that's saying fuck you to gender norms. Because like I said, the conservatives are really concerned on controlling the woman's body, but they're also concerned with controlling the narrative of the man, which the man in American society is supposed to be masculine. He's supposed to be ready for violence. He's supposed to be, you know, about that life. But that is also very freaking detrimental to the society, because men are human as well. That narrative only feeds into them thinking that they have to be invincible, which would then lead them into neglecting their well-being, their authenticity, and things in that nature. So yeah, to me, I think it's very frustrating that they put in so much work and effort to set an example for women and gay men who are oppressed essentially by the ideologies that conservatives want to uphold. And if the conservatives weren't so concerned with upholding these outdated and inhumane patriarchal standards, they would have seen the message that is beyond the surface level of Lil Nas being gay, or Megan and Cardi being openly sexual and openly proud about being sexual. Because if you look past the surface level of what Lil Nas is saying in his music video of, yeah, I'm gay, I'm going to a gay prison, blah, 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 you will see that Jack Harlow in the music video handed Lil Nas X a book, and on the cover of that book was a figure, you know, in like a yoga pose, meditating, and it had the chakras glowing. And that is another controversy I feel like Lil Nas X is about to stir up, because as you know, spirituality and astrology are also things that conservatives try to shun and deem as immoral, when in reality it's not. In that book held the tool for Lil Nas to break out of the prison and free all of the gay people from that prison that was oppressing them for just being gay. And truthfully, I can't say for certain that this is what Lil Nas meant by the symbolism of the book and the tool to get out of prison. But to me, it looked like Lil Nas X was trying to say that with the help of spirituality and his teachings to love, accept, and integrate the shadow self with the light self, it seemed like it became a tool for him to break out of the mental prison that sentenced him for being gay, because society, and I'm pretty sure, I think he said he opened up about his family not accepting him for being homosexual, which again is another beautiful and brilliant way to portray such a traumatic experience, because we all know that gay prisons don't exist. And I feel like that was another thing that he was trying to say, that like it's all a construct and we can all just get out of here and be happy by aligning our chakras and becoming our truest authentic self. I'm not really keeping up with popular culture like I used to, but I did hear comparisons of Lil Nas X's music video to DaBaby's video, where I saw a still of DaBaby receiving oral sex from a woman on her knees, portraying a very patriarchal mindset. People were rightfully comparing these two music videos because they both came out in the same time frame, I think, and they were both naked. They both had their parts censored or whatever, but I guess the more acceptable one was DaBaby's, because he was receiving oral sex from a woman. Lil Nas even brought to people's attention the fact that the only nudity that was portrayed in his whole video, which Lil Boosie had such a problem with, was a woman's butt that Jack Harlow was near in the music video for like a few seconds, which nobody complained about that part. Like I said, Lil Nas already addressed the fact that people weren't really saying nothing about that, but they had the audacity to complain about him dancing naked with a whole bunch of different gay dudes. Like, we have bigger fish to fry, people. Like, ice caps are melting right now. Billionaires are trying to race to get off of this fucking earth because they done fucked it up. And y'all are sitting here complaining about gay men dancing censored and not even showing the same type of energy to straight men being sucked off. Like, what kind of... Make it make sense. There is double standards within these two celebrities, Lil Nas X and DaBaby, how Lil Nas X is not able to openly dance naked, censored, because he's gay, but DaBaby is literally receiving oral. Wow. Y'all have no fucking sense. It's like, that's okay, because it's patriarchal. It's going with how it's supposed to be going. Like, y'all are like disgusting. I can't. Get out. With that double standard there between Lil Nas and DaBaby, there's also a double standard with Cardi B, Megan, and DaBaby, because Cardi B and Megan aren't able to perform with whatever it was, the Speedo or whatever you want to call it, but DaBaby is literally getting I can't even say it enough. His body is all oiled up just like Lil Nas is. The fact that they look, it's almost identical, like they're buff as hell and like they have oil on their body, Lil Nas and DaBaby. and y'all are only coming for Lil Nas because he's gay? Make it make sense. No, matter of fact, don't even make it make sense, because I understand you might be running from homosexuality yourself.
Boosie.
All of these artists are doing the same thing. They're openly expressing their sexuality. Like, there's nothing wrong with the baby openly expressing his sexuality, being straight or whatever. But the fact that you have to portray it as a woman on her knees, like, that is the most patriarchal, misogynistic shit I've ever seen. And then it didn't even get to that point until y'all started clowning Lil Nas for just dancing naked, when the baby turned around and did the fucking same thing pretty much. And y'all, it's quiet, no back talk. Weird. Y'all are on some weird behavior. I want to give some personal examples from when I used to be, because, like, if you know me, like, then you know that I confess that I used to be homophobic. It full heavy on the used to be, because I was ignorant, and that's it. There's no further explanation. But I was raised in a Christian household, and y'all know about Christians, you know, gay is a sin to them, whoop-de-doo. And I wasn't openly homophobic to the people, because, like, I had gay friends or whatever, but I just was like side-eyeing them, because I'm like, you going to hell. But, like, I never took it upon myself to attack them for their lifestyle. I was usually always sneak dissing with my family about gay people, because that's what they did. And, like, I used to be people pleasing out the ass. So I used to be homophobic, just like the people that were around me and the people that I was gathering my personality from. I noticed when I stopped focusing on other people and their lives, I became happier with my own, because when I was saying hateful things about gay people to my family and stuff like that, I would feel bad. And that's the main reason why I never said it in any gay person's face, because, one, I was severely bullied from elementary to middle school. So I always had this, like, golden rule that I created between me, myself, and I, that I was never going to make anybody feel the way that I felt when I was getting bullied. So I never wanted to make anybody feel that they were invalid and stuff like that. But like I said, I was still homophobic in the way that I was spewing hate towards a lifestyle that didn't even relate to me. I remember one time I was spewing hate to my mom, and she was like, you know, they say you become the thing that you hate the most. And I was like, you're right. You speaking some facts right now. So that was the day that I was just like, you know what? I don't got no business to be minding of other folks who are gay. Because if it don't apply to me, let it fly for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a Christian, like, I didn't feel right talking about somebody in that way, because it was so hateful. So I don't know if my homophobia and Boosie's and the baby's homophobia comes from the place that it came from me, because mine was sheer ignorance and believing the things that people told me to believe in instead of making my own belief systems for myself. I'm pretty sure ignorance has some play into his homophobia, but I also think it could come from the patriarchal viewpoints that are trying to be withheld by him. Like I said earlier, these agendas that conservatives are trying to maintain over the years really have men competing against each other, trying to prove which one is more masculine. When Boosie got on live to say that he would beat Lil Nas' ass for dancing naked to get more publicity for a charity, it's looking a lot like he's trying to prove his masculinity, when if you were comfortable in your masculinity, you wouldn't even have to do anything to prove it. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking a little sus, Boosie, but it's not my place to out you. I'll give you another little personal example of how I was trying to uphold patriarchal views. In high school, I used to dance on this hip hop team, which was controversial in my family, or with my mom at least, to begin with, because hip hop was, I guess, too black. And also it was, hip hop songs are just about sex, money, drugs, all that stuff, you know. I guess she didn't think it was good for me or good for my Christian values. So she already had a problem with that to begin with. And so I was so excited to start this hip hop team when I was in high school, because in elementary school I tried to get some dancing lessons. And one time I was trying to learn the dance, and I was like, yo, I learned this dance, and I tried to show it to my mom and my sister. When I showed them, you know, like, I had never danced before, and so I was a little rusty. I ain't gonna care. And they laughed at me for it. They dead ass laughed at me for it when I was trying my hardest to do something that I think that I had a passion with, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I kind of shunned that part of me for a little bit. And then once I got into high school and I found out there was a hip hop team, I was so geeked, bro. I was like, yo, this is my opportunity, especially after I just failed playing basketball, because I was on the basketball team in middle school, and running is not my niche, never will be, never has been. So once I tried out for the basketball team in high school in a different state with higher altitude, and I was out of shape as fuck, I didn't make it. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try that hip hop team because I like to pop some ass. No, I wasn't on that, but like I was excited because I always wanted to dance. But once I got onto this team, the dance team was, I guess, controversial in like my little school, because we was twerking some of our dances because that's cultural practice, especially in hip hop. But I remember there was this one dance that my choreographer did, and like these moves were like ground moves where they had to like snake on, you know, do all the like this popping, and it was like, I think it was inspired by Beyonce when she had performed, I can't remember the song, but it was like her silhouette and she was like popping, you know, and she was on the ground doing this. And so like, as a person that was raised to like, you have to be modest, you have to be a modest Christian guy, I was looking at them, I was like, y'all should have some more respect for yourselves. Yo, I was so hurt by myself when I said that. Like literally, I went home and I felt so bad for saying that, and because like they heard me. My coach was like, it has nothing to do with lack of respect, and I'm just like, damn, okay. Y'all know me with my being afraid of confrontation. I was like, damn, I really said something that made somebody mad at me. So I was thinking about like, okay, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? You know, really dissecting the whole scenario. I found out what I said was really fucked up, and it could have hurt their feelings. And you know, my philosophy is don't hurt other people's feelings like you got your feelings hurt when you was bullied. And so like, I felt like a bully in that moment. And so like, I don't know how long it took me, but I did eventually apologize to them because I felt so bad for just like saying that about them. I learned from a very conservative patriarchal household that you're supposed to shame people that are being their authentic true self, which is them being confident in their body and their skins, to be, you know, snaking on the ground like that and popping like, yo, put me back on that team because I want to do that move so bad. Yeah, so the reason I feel so strongly about these topics is because I've dabbled in the ignorance that is Candace Owens and Boosie and the baby. So the moral of the story is, get out of the cave. Once you get out of the cave, you will live a much happier life, which will cause a butterfly effect on your peers, because if you're happy, then your mama happy. If she happy, then her grandma happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just all create this butterfly effect of compassion, because it's not impossible. You know, compassion spreads compassion and hate spreads hate. So try your best to avoid that. If you don't know what I mean by get out of the cave, I will leave a link down to a video that explains it perfectly. Basically, it's a reference to Plato's allegory of the cave, where he essentially is saying that everything that you believe is not your belief unless you can give reasons behind it. And I'm just gonna leave it at that because it's way more complex, and this video is already long enough. There's always more to be said, there's always more to be done. So like I said at the beginning of this video, if I say anything that is remotely politically incorrect, please feel free to correct me in the comments, because that is always nice, you know, to be informed, educated, because ignorance will really do some shit, won't it? Also feel free to leave your opinions in the comments down below, because I always would love to hear that. But yeah, on that note, make sure everything that you do comes from a place of peace, love, and authenticity. I'll see you in the next one. I want it for the champion.